God bless. I want to give an honor to God who is the head over my life. God laid this in my spirit, so I'm going to bring it forth. Um, the subject is the interpretation of the dream. Daniel chapter 7, verses 2 through 7. So, verse 2. Daniel said, in my vision at night, I looked, and there before me were the four winds of heaven churning up the great sea. Four great beasts, each different from the other, came up out of the sea. The first was like a lion, and it had wings of an eagle. I watched until its wings were torn off, and it was lifted from the ground so that it stood on 2 feet like a human being, and the mind of a human was given to it. So it's saying in verse 4 that the first was like a lion, and it had wings of an eagle. And I watched until its wings, this is Daniel talking, saying he watched until his wings were torn off, and it was lifted from the ground so that it stood on 2 feet like a human. Being in the mind of a human was given to it. Be watchful, be watchful of what you're doing, because they are there are a lot of people portraying to be something that they are not. Okay. 5. And there before me was a second beast. This is the second beast. Okay. Which looked like a bear. It was raised up on one of its sides, and it had 3 ribs in its mouth between its teeth. It was told, get up and eat. You're full of flesh. See, some people better be watchful, because, you know, the devil is here to get some souls. Okay? In verse 5, it said, and there before me was a second beast, which looked like a bear. It was raised up in one of its sides, and it had 3 ribs, okay, in its mouth. Between its teeth, it was told, get up and eat. You're full of flesh. Be mindful of who you're following. Be mindful of what you're doing. 6. After that I looked, and there before me was another beast. This is the third beast. One that looked like a leopard. And on its back it had 4 wings, like these birds. This beast had 4 heads, and it was given authority to rule. So be mindful of who you are following, because whoever you may be following might send you straight to hell. In verse 6 again, after that I looked, and there were before me was another beast, one that looked like a leopard, and on its back it had 4 wings like those birds. This beast had 4 heads, and it was given authority to rule. Watch your surroundings, and and these days and times, some people need to find a closeness to God so that their spiritual eye can be awakened. Because the devil is here to steal and destroy, and he's taking your soul right along with him. After that, in my vision at night, I looked, and there before me was a fourth beast. This is the fourth. Terrifying and frightening and very powerful. It had large iron teeth, and it crushed and devoured its victims. And it trampled underfoot whatever was left. I was different from all the former beasts, and it had 10 horns. So in verse 7, It's saying, after that in my vision at night, I would look, and there before me was a fourth. So, Daniel saw four beasts. But this fourth beast, okay, he looked, and there before me was a fourth beast, terrifying and frightening and very powerful. It had large iron teeth, and it crushed and devoured its victims and trampled underfoot whatever was left. It was different from all the former beasts, and it had 10 horns. So for the people of God, be watchful, because the devil is here to steal and destroy. You have to be watchful and see the things that you are doing is not pleasing into God. See, what people don't understand, you have two sides to pick. You either pick God or you pick the devil's side. And see, some people are falling in the devil's hand. And that's where your soul lies. Be mindful. Because this is judgment. When you pick a side, that's the side you stay on. So the subject is the interpretation of the dream. Daniel chapter 4, verses 2 through 7. Have a blessed day.